The night I died, my wife of 48 years confessed that our son wasn't mine. Leaning against Ethan Cole, the man who had stolen my college acceptance decades ago, she looked at me with venom in her eyes and a smile on her lips. Noah Carter, you're finally dying. Now we can be together without hiding. Then, she personally removed my oxygen tube, watching as I suffocated, struggling uselessly for one last breath. I woke up in the year my life went wrong, the year the college acceptance letters were due. She was standing in my door, shouting like a madwoman. Noah, I'm pregnant. You have to marry me now. Forget about college. I glanced at her flat stomach and, without a second thought, moved to shut the door. Go find a real father. I'm not interested in raising another man's child. She seemed not to hear me, shoving her hand in the doorframe just as the old would slammed shut. It crushed her fingers and she screamed in pain. I instinctively loosened my grip and she kicked the door open. Noah, what are you doing? Look, my hand is all red. Anna Miller may have grown up in this small, forgotten town, but ever since we got engaged, I had done most of the hard labor for her family. Her hands had grown as soft and delicate as a city girl's. The crimson swelling on her knuckles showed the door had hit her hard, but I felt no guilt. The memory of suffocating was still fresh, a phantom tightness in my chest. Say something, she demanded. Why are you being so quiet? I am pregnant. Do you know what that means? We have to get married quickly before it starts to show. I'll be the town scandal. In my first life, she had come to me just like this. We had gotten engaged at the beginning of the year, but after my father's sudden death, she insisted we wait, claiming she needed to properly mourn him. I figured since the college letters were coming out, I might as well apply. If I got in, I could get a good job, and she wouldn't have to live this hard life with me. But before my acceptance letter ever arrived, she told me she was pregnant. I couldn't remember what happened that night, but I decided to take responsibility and gave up my dream of college. A few months after we married, she gave birth to a son, and our life became even harder. To support my family, I worked tirelessly at the local mill, and only after years of grinding, when I finally became a manager, did things get a little easier. But she was never satisfied. She would constantly complain that after all this time, I was just a small-time factory manager, not respected like a school principal. I never thought much of it back then. Ours was a marriage of convenience, pushed on us by our parents. There was no love, so I expected a few complaints. I never realized she was hinting at her affair with Ethan Cole all along. Everyone praised Principal Cole as a man of integrity and devotion. His wife had died 10 years prior without leaving him any children, and he remained single, claiming to dedicate his life to education. But I knew the truth. He was the one who had taken my spot at the university. He had strung Anna along for decades in a secret affair, convincing her not to divorce me so their son could legally inherit everything I owned, squeezing every last drop of value out of me until I died. I remember my final moments. Anna, who hadn't visited me in ages, suddenly appeared at the hospital. She sat by my bed, her face a frozen mask from too much plastic surgery, her words colder than ice. Noah, we never had any feelings for each other, but we were married for decades. I have to thank you for raising my and Ethan's son into such a successful man. But you're useless now. Ethan said that after you die, he'll take us home. I'll finally be the principal's wife, with money and social status. The memory made me take a deep breath. I looked at the woman in front of me and said with absolute resolve, when my acceptance letter arrives, I'm going to college. Our engagement was just something our parents cooked up. We can call it off anytime. I pushed her out the door, slammed it shut, and slid the bolt home, ignoring her shouts from outside. This time, I would not let her ruin my life. I couldn't sleep all night. This world felt alien to me now. No phone, no TV, just a single, dim bulb lighting the room. Before the sun was fully up, I could hear the sounds of the town waking up. People were heading to their shifts at the mill. I couldn't stay in bed. I was grateful that I would soon be off to college, that in just a little while, I could leave this small town behind for good. I got dressed and went out to join the others. It wasn't long before Sheriff Thompson arrived with a group of people. Noah Carter, Anna's mother, came to me this morning, said you're calling off the wedding for no reason. The girl was up all night crying. I remember when your father was still around, your two families settled this. I was there. What's going on? You owe everyone an explanation. The people around us stopped their work to chime in. Are you two fighting? That's just how life is. You're young. You'll get used to it after you're married. Yeah, couples always make up. You were just at her house the other day, doing all their chores for them. Everything seemed fine. Listen to me, Noah, another one added. In your situation, it's not easy to find a wife. You should know when to let things go. Don't be impulsive. My parents were gone, and I had no siblings. I used to think that with my circumstances, I was lucky to have anyone at all and had no right to be picky, let alone find someone I loved. But decades of my past life proved that a family without a meddling mother-in-law was the real prize. Anna didn't love me, but she stayed with me, likely for that very reason. She controlled all the money I earned, deciding how every penny was spent. I was solely responsible for our son's upbringing. She just lived the life she wanted. She even decided which hospital I'd be in when I was critically ill. By the time I realized what was happening, it was far too late. The more I thought about it, the angrier I got. I threw my shovel to the ground. Her family came to us first, I said sharply. They begged my dad, saying they needed a happy event to change their luck, and they even took my grandmother's gold ring. I've done more than enough for their family this past year. I have nothing to explain. The sheriff frowned. You're a college-bound man, Noah. You've read more books than us. How can you be so irresponsible? I didn't want to argue. I picked up my shovel to get back to work. Just then, Anna and her mother, Mrs. Miller, ran out from behind a large tree across the road. Mrs. Miller looked ready for a fight. Every time I used to visit, she would greet me with a smile and a glass of water. Today, she pointed a finger at me and started yelling. Cut the crap. Your father agreed to the engagement, and you went along with it. Whatever we took from you was what we were owed. Now you've got my daughter pregnant, and you want to walk away? Is that it? If you don't give us an answer today, I'll follow you to your college and raise hell. I hadn't planned on revealing Anna's pregnancy. Even if I didn't care about her reputation, I had to consider my own, since people thought we were involved. I had hoped that by making my position clear, she would get the hint and agree to end the engagement. Once I was in the city, these people would be out of my life, and there would be less trouble. I never expected her mother to just blurt it out. In my past life, after we moved to the city, Mrs. Miller stayed behind in her hometown. Anna always said she was used to it and didn't want to move, but every time I saw her, she'd mention how much she wanted to come see her grandson. I don't know how much she knew about Anna and Ethan's affair, but I wasn't going to be a fool again. Her pregnancy has nothing to do with me. I stated clearly, that child is not mine. In this era, in a town this small, an unwed mother was a scandal, especially when her own fiancé was denying paternity. Mrs. Miller's eyes went wide, as if she genuinely didn't know. She let go of Anna's arm, jumped down into the field, and stomped over to me. If it's not yours, then whose is it? Anna stays home all day. She's never even touched another man's hand. You're the one who's always at our house, hauling water, chopping wood, always so helpful. I used to think you were a dependable kid. Even though your parents are gone, you were honest. That's why I trusted you in my house. But you took advantage of my daughter while I was visiting my sister. And now that there's a baby on the way, you deny it. She got more furious as she spoke, grabbing a handful of dirt and throwing it in my face, then kicking me while I was stunned. The crowd gasped, their curiosity piqued. Hey, let's talk this out calmly, someone said. With all of us here, we can solve this. Noah, everyone knows about you and Anna. If her dad hadn't passed away so suddenly, we'd all be celebrating your wedding by now. If you did something wrong, just admit it. You're practically married. What's there to be afraid of? That's right. I watched you grow up. If you're the kind of guy who'd abandon his responsibilities, I'd have to teach you a lesson on behalf of your dead father. I knew that in this situation, a dozen mouths couldn't talk their way out of it. I looked towards Anna, who was standing by the road with her head down, wringing the hem of her dress as if she were the victim of some great injustice. Anna, why don't you tell them who the father is? She looked up, her voice already thick with tears. Of course it's you, Noah. I've never been with any other man. That day my mom was gone, you stayed at my house. Have you forgotten what happened? Or are you just trying to get out of it by slandering me? That day, I had brought a load of firewood to her house, along with some groceries, since I was leaving for my college entrance exams in a few days. She told me her mother was out of town, and she was scared to be alone. There had been reports of a bear wandering down from the mountains, raiding gardens, and even breaking into houses. I didn't think much of it and agreed to sleep in her living room. That night, I felt unusually drowsy. When I woke up the next morning, she was curled up in my arms, naked, her eyes red and swollen. I couldn't remember a thing and assumed I had done something terrible. I was so angry at myself, I slapped my own face twice. Then she came to my door, telling me she was pregnant. In my past life, she gave birth prematurely at 8 months. I thought it was due to malnutrition, so I worked at the mill during the day and hunted deer at night to make sure she and the baby had enough to eat. Only later did I find out the baby was full term. She had planned the whole thing, trapping me after she discovered she was pregnant. I was trying to recall any clue that could prove my innocence when another voice spoke up. I did see Noah go to her house a few days ago when Mrs. Miller was away. One night, I went looking for Noah to ask if he needed any help preparing for his exams, but he wasn't home. The speaker was Sheriff Thompson. His words seemed to confirm Anna's story. The crowd started murmuring, ready to demand justice for Anna. No woman would joke about her own honor. Anna has always been a sweet girl. I believe her. Everyone saw you running to her house all the time. Just own up to what you did. You can't just turn your back on her now that you're about to be a college student. This has always been a decent town. We can't let people like you ruin its reputation. I say, just pick a date and get them married. Turn a bad thing into a good thing. In a matter of moments, I was public enemy number one. My eyes accidentally met the sheriff's. A faint, knowing smile played on his lips. Then it hit me. He was close with Ethan Cole's family. He always said, "The Coles are from the city. They're not used to our ways here. We need to look out for them." Any special treatment or favors always went to them first. He had never been supportive of me going to college, telling me several times to just focus on my work at the mill and not get any fancy ideas. Why would he suddenly care if I needed help with my exams? He must have known about Anna and Ethan, taken a bribe, and come here with his cronies to fabricate a story and seal my fate. After all, what was my word against all of theirs? But the fact was, I had been at Anna's house. I couldn't deny it. I cursed my luck. If I was going to be reborn, why not before the engagement? That would have saved me from this impossible situation. Anna started to sob dramatically. "Mom, I can't live anymore. After something like this, I have no honor left. I might as well go jump in the river." Mrs. Miller's son and husband had died years ago in a logging accident on the mountain. Anna was all she had left, her only hope for a son-in-law to help with the work. Hearing her talk about suicide threw her into a panic. "What are you talking about, you foolish girl? Today, I will make Noah Carter marry you." Anna shook her head. "If he goes to college, he'll move to the city. We can't exactly tie him up and keep him here, can we? It's better if I just end it all. Take this cursed child with me." Cursed child. It was the first time I had ever heard her speak of her own child that way. In our past life, while she never cared for him, she spoiled him rotten, buying him anything he wanted. I guess it was because that child was valuable to her. Seeing her talk about dying without making a single move, I almost wanted to help her along. "Do whatever you want," I said coldly. "It's not my child. I don't care what you do." My words enraged Mrs. Miller. She lunged at me, jumping twice to grab my collar. "It's a done deal, and you're still denying it. I'm telling you right now, if you don't marry my daughter, I'll give up my own life to take you down with me." The sheriff chimed in. "You say the child isn't yours. Can you prove it? Anna has us as witnesses. Do you have any?" Before I could answer, a clear female voice cut through the crowd from behind. "Yes, I can prove the child in her belly isn't Noah's. It's Ethan Cole's." Everyone turned to look. It was a girl who looked both strange and familiar. She wore a floral dress, her hair in 2 braids, with a delicate and pretty face. She wasn't from our town. I searched my memory but couldn't place her, yet I felt a strange sense of recognition. And she knew my name. Seeing her well-laid plans fall apart, with the real father's name spoken aloud, Anna forgot to cry. "Who are you? What nonsense are you spouting? My baby is Noah's. Ethan Cole? I don't even know him." The girl just stared at her, and I could have sworn I saw a deep, burning hatred in her eyes. I'm Ethan Cole's wife. As Sarah Manning spoke, my eyes widened. It was her. In my previous life, I had only seen her once on television, in a photograph shown after her death. Even though the photo was touched up, you could still see the exhaustion and sorrow in her eyes, a world away from the vibrant young woman of 20-something standing before me now. No wonder she looked familiar, yet I couldn't place her. I thought Ethan had only married after he went to college in my place. I never knew he was already married this early. Why would he be here in this small town? Anna looked just as confused. It was clear she had no idea Ethan was married. After all, his family had been in town for over a year, and no one had ever seen Sarah. You're lying. He's not married. I had to laugh at her panicked state. How could I have been fooled by this woman for so long in my past life? You said you didn't know Ethan Cole. How would you know if he's married or not? Realizing she had slipped up, she swallowed nervously and stammered. I don't know him well. We don't really talk. It's a small town. We all have to work together. How could I not know who he is? Mrs. Miller backed her up. Yeah. Why should we believe some strange woman who just shows up and starts making accusations? Don't fall for it, everyone. It must be Noah trying to get out of his responsibility. So he found some floozy to help him lie and slander my daughter. And you're not just making accusations yourselves? I shot back. Can you prove anything? I walked over to stand in front of Sarah. Miss Manning, how do you know the child is Ethan's? Do you have any proof? This was my chance. I couldn't tell anyone I was reborn. They wouldn't believe me. But she was different. She had to have a reason for stepping into this mess. But I was wrong. She simply shook her head. I have no proof. Anna breathed a sigh of relief, a smug look on her face. Let's not even talk about whether you're really Ethan's wife. If you have no proof, then what are you talking about? Mrs. Miller added, exactly. At least my daughter has a baby in her belly. You have nothing. Why should anyone believe you? Just as the crowd started to clamor for Sarah to be driven away, she spoke calmly. But she's not showing yet, is she? How do you prove she's even pregnant? Anna lifted her chin. Of course, a doctor confirmed it. The doctor at the town clinic. He comes from a long line of doctors. His diagnoses are always accurate. I saw a flicker of understanding in Sarah's expression, and I got it. Then let's all go to the clinic and ask. Anna suddenly grew tense, her voice becoming shrill. Why should I go? I don't feel well. I'm going home to rest. She tried to run off, ignoring her mother's protests. A clear sign of guilt. But I couldn't let her go. If this rumor spread today, it would be even harder to clear my name later. You're not going anywhere. You have to clear this up. I stood in her way, unmoving as she bit and kicked. Sarah frowned. If you don't want to go to the clinic, fine. Then you can come with me to Ethan Cole's house. She then turned to the crowd. Since none of you believe I'm married to Ethan, why don't you all come along? That way no one can say I'm lying. And so, a large crowd marched to Ethan Cole's house. The Coles lived in the nicest house in town and often skipped out on work shifts, a clear sign they had money. Hearing the knock, Ethan opened the door with a head of messy hair. Who is it? What's all this noise? When he saw Sarah, his jaw dropped. Honey, what are you doing here? His instinctive reaction told everyone that he was, in fact, married. Sarah wasn't lying. Mrs. Miller didn't care about that. She pushed Sarah aside and confronted Ethan. So you are married. Good. Your wife here, in front of all these people, is claiming my daughter's baby is yours. She's ruined her reputation. What are you going to do about it? Ethan exchanged a look with Anna, a flicker of something I caught. He coughed uncomfortably, feigning anger. I barely know her. What baby? What does that have to do with me? My wife is a lady from the city. You think I'd be interested in some small-town girl like her? Anna's face turned pale. She opened her mouth to say something, but he cut her off. I have things to do. Everyone, please leave. Don't make a scene at my door. The sheriff, who had been hiding in the back of the crowd, quickly started shooing people away. All right, break it up. Back to work. No, no food. No matter how much they wanted to see the drama unfold, they had to leave. Mrs. Miller didn't want to go, but Anna had already run off crying, so she had no choice but to chase after her. Soon, it was just the three of us. They didn't seem like a normal couple. Ethan was clearly trying to placate Sarah. Why didn't you tell me you were coming? I would have picked you up. Your father is going to kill me if he finds out. Sarah ignored his question. I remember you said the country air was good for you, that it would help you focus on your studies. I didn't realize you had a new girl here to keep you company. You must be having the time of your life. Ethan's lips trembled. What are you talking about? I've been studying at home every day. I haven't even looked at another woman. What new girl? I don't know what you mean. You don't have to lie to me, Ethan. If you won't admit it, we'll find out the truth when her baby is born. I didn't come here to see you anyway. I came to talk about a divorce. Make some time and come back to the city. She was so direct, so decisive. Compared to her, I felt weak and indecisive. How could a smart woman like her have fallen for a man like Ethan in our past life and been kept in the dark just like me? Without realizing it, I had been following her for a while. I thought for a moment, then walked up to her, keeping a respectful distance. Miss Manning, thank you for your help. I expected her to ignore me, given her cold demeanor, but she stopped and looked at me with a smile. You're reborn too, aren't you? I froze. She was reborn too. No wonder she was here. I had never seen her in town in my past life. I suddenly felt like I had found a kindred spirit. I tried to calm myself. Yes, before I died, Anna told me her son was Ethan's, that they had been together for years. I sighed. We're in the same boat, you and I. Not just bad marriages, but early deaths. She listened, then seemed to get lost in her own memories for a long time before she spoke. Ethan had his reasons for getting close to Anna. Loneliness was one, but the other was your spot at the university. Since you're also reborn, you must know that Ethan only got into college by stealing your place. He never could have gotten in on his own. This was the one thing I could never figure out. Even though I had decided to marry Anna and give up college after she told me she was pregnant, the acceptance letter should have been delivered to me. I never received it. How did Anna get it to Ethan? Go ask your town sheriff, she said. The letter should have arrived by now. Her words were like a lightning bolt. I don't even remember how I got home. The sheriff was helping the Coles. If, as Sarah said, he intercepted my acceptance letter, he wouldn't give it to me easily. As I was trying to figure out how to get the letter from the sheriff, Anna showed up again. She started crying the moment she saw me. Noah, someone is trying to hurt me. Please, you have to help me. Besides me and Sarah, I couldn't think of anyone else who would want to hurt her. I figured she was trying to manipulate me again. I looked around. There was no one else in the moonlight. I pushed her hand away. You're a tough one, Anna. Who would dare to hurt you? I told you not to come here again. If you insist the baby is mine, then have it and let everyone see. But I am not marrying you. The child didn't look much like me. He was 70% his mother, 30% Ethan Cole. I just hadn't spent much time with Ethan back then, and after he left for college, I never saw him again, so I never made the connection. I remember a coworker once joked that our son didn't look a thing like me. I had just laughed it off. I said all this without a trace of mercy. The hurt in Anna's eyes for a moment made me pause. Shouldn't she be angry? Why did she look sad? At my deathbed, she had gritted her teeth and said she had never loved me, that sharing a bed with me all those years made her sick. Ethan had laughed triumphantly, calling me a pathetic loser who would always be in his shadow. Anna lowered her eyes, lost in thought. Just as my patience was wearing thin, she looked up at me, her eyes pleading. Ethan's wife wants a divorce. He just came to my house and caused a huge scene. He said he's going to kill the baby in my womb. If the sheriff hadn't stopped him, I'd be dead right now. Noah, we were engaged. Are you just going to stand by and watch me get hurt? If you help me this one time, I'll agree to end the engagement. I'll never bother you again. I hesitated. I knew if I just waited, the truth would eventually come out. But I was determined to go to college this time. I couldn't let anything get in my way. Anna was a wild card. There was no telling what she and her mother would do. I had to be careful. How do you want me to help you? You know my standing in this town. I have nothing. What can I do? Hearing this, a glimmer of hope appeared in her eyes, and her previous gloom vanished. It's simple. Just agree to give your spot at the university to him. He'll leave me alone then. I sneered. How do you know I got into college? I haven't even seen an acceptance letter myself. She was so sure I had been accepted. She must have seen it. Her face flushed. I saw the mailman give your acceptance letter to the sheriff at the edge of town, she mumbled. The other night when I went to see Ethan, he told me to find a way to stop you from going to college. He said he'd give me money. In our town, working at the mill only earned you scrip for food and supplies. There weren't many ways to earn actual cash. It was a tempting offer, but I knew Ethan must have promised her more than that. I didn't answer, and she grew anxious. If you help me, I'll have my mom give you back your grandmother's gold ring. Not enough, I said flatly. This is a life or death matter. You also have to publicly admit the child isn't mine, and then we end the engagement. She probably didn't expect me to be so demanding. A conflicted look crossed her face. If she told the truth, her life might be saved for now, but her reputation would be ruined forever. I decided to up the ante. I met a guy during my exams. He said if I didn't get into college, he could give me a job in the city. The city has food, entertainment, things we've never seen here. People dress well, like Sarah Manning. I was thinking, since we go way back, if you ever wanted to move to the city, maybe I could help you out. She was obsessed with keeping up with others. In our past life, once we had money, she spent it all on clothes and makeup, trying to imitate Sarah's style. Fine, she agreed quickly. I'll do it. I gave her a rough idea of what she needed to do. After I figured she had enough time to get home, I went to the sheriff's house. He was still awake. He seemed surprised to see me, probably thinking I was there to talk about Anna. Noah, as sheriff, I have to be impartial. I can't protect you. A man has to be responsible. Under the cover of darkness, I rolled my eyes. Sheriff, you know the truth of that matter better than I do. I'm here about something else. My acceptance letter should have arrived, but I haven't received it. His hand, which was in midair, froze. He gave an awkward laugh. How would I know about that? I never went to college. Maybe you didn't get in? Maybe you made a mistake. It was exhausting playing games with a man like this, but I had no other choice. Sheriff, Anna came to see me today. She said Ethan's father gave you a lot of money to help him frame me. But I've known you for years. I know you're not that kind of person, so I didn't believe her. The sheriff suddenly became tense. What is that girl talking about? I've helped her and her mother out plenty because I felt sorry for them. And this is how she repays me. With slander? Yes, but she's being forced into it. Ethan's wife from the city is a tough one. I hear her father is a factory owner, very wealthy. The Coles won't be in our town for long. We've all been good neighbors here for years. We can't let outsiders ruin that. The sheriff was a sly old fox. He studied me for a moment, his brow furrowed. What do you want me to do? When I end my engagement with Anna, I need you to speak up for me. Tell the truth. In return, I'll give you a whole deer. Deer were fierce, and not many people dare to hunt them. My father had learned from my grandfather, and whenever he caught one, he would share the meat with the town. Since he passed, no one had brought one down. As his son, the sheriff trusted my hunting skills. A whole deer could fetch a good price in the next town over, and it would buy my silence. He agreed. Seeing that my plan was working, I prepared to leave. Sheriff, I know I was accepted. If the letter shows up in a few days, please bring it to me at the mill. I went home with my heart pounding. I wasn't sure if my words tonight would have any effect. If Anna also went to the sheriff, I'd be in trouble. Luckily, my fears didn't come true, and my luck held out. I managed to hunt 2 deer. I delivered one directly to the sheriff's house and shared the other with the townspeople. A few days later, while everyone was working, Anna called Ethan out to the fields. He stood proudly on the path, puffing out his chest. Sheriff, he called out loudly. Anna said she saw the mailman give you my college acceptance letter. I'm here to pick it up. Some people started to congratulate him. Wow, a college student in our town. Those city folks sure are smart. The acceptance letter? Sheriff, let's see it. I've never seen one of those before in my life. Ethan's head was held so high, he was practically looking at the sky. Go on, show them. Let everyone have a look. The sheriff reached into his cloth bag and pulled out an envelope. We do have a college student in our town, he announced. But it's Noah Carter, not Ethan Cole. He handed the envelope to me. I opened it, and when I saw my name, tears welled up in my eyes. Ethan ran to the sheriff and grabbed his arm. What are you doing? We had a deal. The sheriff shook him off. I don't know what you're talking about. This letter is for Noah. There's no mistake. Ethan then lunged at me, trying to snatch the letter. Give me that. It's mine. I sidestepped, and he stumbled, falling face first into the dirt. The sheriff shouted, Noah is our town's only college student. He even shared his hunt with all of us. We can't let him be bullied. A group of men with shovels and hoes surged forward. Ethan didn't dare move. He could only scream at Anna. He said he agreed to give me his spot. What is this? Anna shook her head in terror. I don't know. He promised me. Ethan spat on the ground. Useless. And you still want money from me. I should have gotten rid of that bastard in your belly from the start. I took my chance to speak up. I told you all, the baby in Anna's belly isn't mine. Now, do you believe me? The few villagers who had been there for the first confrontation were stunned. Wait a minute. Last time, the sheriff was testifying for Anna's family. What changed? The sheriff held a lot of weight in the town. His word was more powerful than 100 explanations for me. I glanced at him, my heart pounding. He wasn't going to back out now, was he? Ahem, it was all a misunderstanding. The sheriff cleared his throat. Mrs. Miller went to visit her sister a month ago. I went to the clinic yesterday and asked the doctor. Anna is 2 months pregnant. As soon as he said that, everyone understood. They all turned on Anna. What's wrong with you, girl? How could you lie like that? You made us all misunderstand Noah. The engagement should be called off. That's right. He's a future college student, and he still shared his food with us without holding a grudge. He's a good man. Anna was so ashamed she couldn't lift her head. Ethan, having failed to get the acceptance letter and with his scheme exposed, was berated by the townspeople and ran away in disgrace. After work, I went home with my acceptance letter, reading my name over and over. It felt like a dream. A week before I was set to leave for the city, Anna came to see me. The end of our engagement hadn't been officially announced, but the whole town knew. Her belly was just beginning to show. She knelt before me, crying. Noah, please just marry me. I have no other way to live. There were bruises on her arms. I heard that when Mrs. Miller found out the baby was Ethan's, she beat her and threatened to disown her. But what did that have to do with me? Anna, aren't you curious how I suddenly knew the baby wasn't mine? I told her everything that had happened in our past life. I watched her expression change from confusion to despair, and a wave of satisfaction washed over me. I'm not going to marry you. Who would be stupid enough to fall for the same trick twice? She covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face. Noah, I don't believe you. That's not possible. I would never do those things. I truly wanted to build a life with you. Ethan forced himself on me, and then he lied to me. I just laughed. Believe it, don't believe it, it doesn't matter. Whether you were forced or you were willing, the day you chose to help him deceive me, you sealed your fate. Anna left, completely broken. A few days later, we heard she had drowned in the river. A mother and child, both gone. Everyone suspected Ethan did it, but there was no proof. All they could do was run his family out of town. I packed my few belongings and headed to the city to register for college. I never expected the first person I'd run into would be Sarah. She smiled and greeted me. Long time no see. Thinking of our past lives, I asked the question that had been bothering me for so long. Miss Manning, you're such a good person. How did you end up marrying someone like Ethan? She sighed. His father worked in my family's factory. He wanted our money, so he set me up, forced me into a compromising situation where I had no choice but to marry his son. My parents couldn't bear the thought of me suffering in a small town, so they told him if he could get into college and come back to the city, they would hand the factory over to him. In our last life, he stole your college acceptance, inherited my family's factory, and used his money and connections to climb the social ladder. He had countless mistresses. Anna knew about it. That's why she caused me to have a miscarriage, making me unable to ever have children. The son you raised became Ethan's only heir. Hearing this, all the pieces fell into place. The thought of Anna made my teeth ache with anger. Anna drowned. Everyone thinks Ethan did it, so they ran him out of town. Sarah nodded thoughtfully. That explains why he came to me, demanding my father give him a sum of money for a divorce. But I guess what goes around comes around. He was killed in a car crash the other day. We looked at each other and smiled. This life, we were going to live it well.